Hi there, this is Raven Dana, and thank you for joining me here at Walking Between the Worlds. This is September 10th, 2024, Class 1 of the fall series of 5 classes. And today's subject is how to create balance in your energy. Where are the obstacles that slow you down? Where are the roadblocks to your energy? As we move towards this equinox, right, towards this balance point between light and day, between what's observed and what's hidden, let's take a look at how we can help ourselves create more energy, free up more of our own energy. And again, energy is power. Power is the ability to act or take action. So the degree to which you have power in your life has to do with where you're spending and how you're spending your energy. So let's take a look at that. Where are those roadblocks for you? A question to ask yourself that will help is, what am I putting up with? Now, you might not be putting up with anything major. Maybe you don't need to change a job, or maybe you're not in a relationship problem. But here's the thing. Most of us, most of the time, have things that we ignore and tolerate that then become additive, and it leads to greater stress or a feeling of background dissatisfaction. So take a moment and just check yourself. Is there a table that could be moved 6 inches to the left? Is there a light bulb that needs to be changed? Is there a sink that's running slowly? Right? Is there an article of clothing that you haven't been able to find for a month? Is there, right? What is there in your daily routines that you find that you are tolerating and putting up with that have, 10-minute fixes or less? And even if it's a little bigger, maybe you let things go on that dining room table and it looks like somebody's been living on it. Well, go ahead and take the 20 minutes that it will take to clear it off so you can breathe that sigh and go, oh, my energy is free again, right? And that's what it is. Wherever you have the tension in your body, wherever you reach for something and it's out of place and you clench, you get enough of those in the course of your day and you have a fair amount of stress that you don't realize is even happening. So, of course, if you have larger things that you're putting up with, where you might need to have a conversation or 2 or 3 with a friend or a neighbor or your spouse or a family member, then remember that avoiding those conversations will automatically at some point lead to a confrontation. So don't avoid conflict, but take care of it while the thing is relatively small. There's an adage that I heard many years ago that has always spoken to me: to act while the thing is small, before the drops of rain become the rushing river. So before your emotions pile up and become a hurricane or a tsunami, go ahead and have the uncomfortable conversation that you're avoiding, right? And that's the part 2. So part 1 of reality check, where is my energy, is answering the question, what am I putting up with? And part 2 is answering the question, what am I avoiding? And that's, again, usually a little bit deeper, more complex question, because the what am I avoiding can easily be conversations with people, or things that we want to reveal that we don't know how they'll be taken, or requests that we want to make that we're afraid to make. So go ahead and brave up and do those things, right? Get those obstacles out of your path so that your energy can be freed up, because any answer is a resolution. Even if you make a request and the person says no, it's still a resolution and you can move on. You can ask somebody else, or you can reframe the way the question is asked or the request is asked. So those are some things. And at this time of year, it's really important to give yourself some space for greater self-care, to give yourself some space for meditation, for quieting down, for coming out of the high heat of summer and the busy energy of long days, to begin to cool yourself down, to begin moving toward that time of darkness, that time of introspection, that time of letting go, because, right, that's what's coming up in the fall. So soon we will have the equinox and we will explore more deeply ways to let go, because often we don't know how to hold on and let go. We will often hold on to things that are not useful and let go of things that are difficult that we don't want to feel uncomfortable with, but that if we held on to those things might benefit us, benefit our lives. So that's another assessment to just sort of sit back with. How are you with holding on and letting go? Do you let your fear stop your energy? Do you let your worry about what someone might think stop you? So those are the kinds of places to reclaim your power, to start bringing the energy back to you so that you can be in the flow in your life. And make no mistake about it, the universe around you is in deep flow. If you doubt that at all, just go sit in nature, and I highly recommend that you do that every day. My request for your practice for this week is to spend 15 minutes in silence in nature every day. And I don't care how you do it. I don't care if you sit on your deck. I don't care if you walk in the woods, if you drive to a lake, if you drive to a park and sit in the car to avoid whatever, climbing a hill you don't want to climb. I don't care. As long as you are in nature, in silence, for at least 15 minutes a day. And that's about how much time it takes, by the way, for your mind to just quiet down and get yourself present. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to let yourself, allow yourself to have the awareness, the feeling in your body and the knowing in your heart and mind that the universe is in flow. And for you to be in flow, to be your natural self, to let nature take its course through you, really what there is for you to do is observe and remove the obstacles, the blocks to your energy that are in the way. And the more you do that, the more you recognize that you do and you are creating the future for yourself. Every thought you have, every emotion you have, every story you tell yourself is an energy package that's leaning toward a certain outcome. So if you have stories that are victim-y and poor me and I can't get anything right in it, so check yourself. This is something that you're putting up with. You're putting up with a jerk in your head, which is your own voice, your own self-talk, being unkind to you and limiting to you. So, it doesn't matter where those stories came from or where those voices came from. The short messages, they came somewhere from your past and probably learned them somewhere from your parents. Doesn't matter. What matters is, as a grown person, you get to be in charge of what runs the show in your head. So, right, you can have a mind and use it, or you can be owned by the patterns and habits of the mind, which makes life not much fun. But again, in this practice of magic, in the practice of energy management, what we really are talking about is developing the skill of calling ourselves back from things that rob us of the energy and power to be fully present and in the flow. When we're present and in the flow, things change, things move, right? What we are seeking is seeking us. And yet if we set our own obstacles up, we may take a very long time to realize those dreams and those desires. So the most productive thing we can do, especially at this time of year, is to go in that flow with nature and begin the process of letting go. Leaves turn, leaves fall. They're beautiful. The trees sleep. There's a profound letting go. So consider that for yourself, that as we move into this time of fall, as we move towards the beauty of the changing of the trees and the shifting of the seasons, that feeling of cool air, crisp leaves, blue sky, and the harvest, all the promise that the harvest brings, pumpkins and apples and cider and gatherings and all of the good things that come with this time of year. Let yourself prepare for those by clearing out the energy as much as you can, by taking small, specific actions on the most practical of levels to first clear away what's the most obvious stuff in your environment. Now, as the class progresses, we're going to work on deeper layers. emotional, mental, spiritual, deeper packets of information. But for today, we want to clean the surface, right? I mean, you can't see what's out the window unless you clean the window first. So that's what we're working with today, that the most obvious layer of what blocks you. And with that in mind, again, I'm going to return the conversation to an awareness of deeper self-care, to get enough sleep, to drink that extra water, to go for that walk, to take that extra time to meditate. If you're not in the habit of meditating, I highly recommend that you pick up that habit. And if you have a hard time with it, there are many meditations here on my YouTube site recorded for you to choose from. And there are CDs that you can use, or you can, again, if you can't find a way to meditate on your own, there's plenty of other things you can do. You can just follow your breath. You can walk and let yourself be present in the moment to the sensations in your body. These are all forms of meditating that help train your mind to be quiet and free your energy to be in the flow. Okay then, after this little chat today, I will also post either tonight or tomorrow a meditation that will go along with this information that ought to give you a little bit of insight. And here are some things I can suggest for you this week to play with. Create permissions, 5 permissions that will help to free your bound energy. If you have something particular that you know is a sticking point with you, if you hang on to something that isn't working for you, you might try a couple things, a couple of very simple rituals that help drive the information of what you want from your conscious mind down into the part of you that's the decision maker, your deep mind. Because I'm reminding you that on the deep levels, our awareness works with images and emotions. So talking to yourself inside your own mind isn't going to do it. Rituals are very powerful tools for connecting the images and emotions and sending that signal down to the decision-making part of our awareness. So there are 2 very simple ones that I will suggest to you. One is to get a jar, and all the ways that you think, sit quietly, and all the ways that you think you might be stopping yourself, or you might be putting up with something, or you might be holding on to something, put a rock in that jar. When the jar is full and you're looking at all those rocks, then you create a couple of permissions to let that stuff go, to clear it from you, mentally, emotionally, physically, psychically. And then you enjoy the process of taking out those rocks one at a time and throwing them as far and as hard as you can. And it doesn't matter how many they are. Make it a game, make it fun, throw them in a lake or a river or in the forest. But it's a great tool for release. Another thing that you can do, if you prefer cutting the cords, is you can get a small box of some kind, and inside that box you can write a sentence or 2 about what it is that you're holding on to, right? And you put it in there, and then you tie the box up with string, and you turn it over in your hands, and you look at it, and you feel it, and you let yourself feel that sensation of being tethered to whatever this is. And then you take scissors and you cut all that string off, and you throw the string away, and you take the piece of paper out and you tear it up or burn it or flush it. And again, it is this symbolic representation of unbinding yourself from the thing that's been holding you back. So those are the 2 small rituals I'm going to leave with you today, and to remind you to please be mindful of your own self-care. That is our starting point for this week. Thank you for tuning in to class 1 of our fall series about freeing the energy, getting in the flow, and making good things happen in our lives. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Have a wonderful evening. Bye now.